Hello there and welcome back to another video, and today I will be speed building and reviewing the first models of LEGO set number 42023 Construction Crew from LEGO Technic. Now this set has 833 pieces, and of course that comes with 0 minifigures, and it is right here. So today I'm going to build this and wrap it up into a very quick speed build. So here is the completed build. Build time today was about 2 3/4 hours, and let's just jump straight into it. Now the first vehicle you build is this excavator, and I think this has a really nice shape. If we start down at the bottom, you can see there's some nice building in the tracks to make them the right size. Of course the tracks do roll so you can drive the excavator. And if you look under here, you can see that there is actually a gear there. And that is for the steering, which I will get back to in a minute. If you move further up, you can see it's got a nice red and grey colour scheme, with the red along here and on the top. And of course grey on the arm and on the back, and it's got this nice white cabin as well. Of course you can't fit any minifigures in there, it's much too small. And if you turn it over to the other side, you can see it's identical, just without the cockpit. And if you turn to the back, you can see there's some nice build with stickers for the warning signs, and I think that's a grill there. And you can also see there's this mysterious piece on the back, which I will get back to. I said I would get back to this gear down here, so I'll do that now. So if you look on the top of this vehicle, there is this piece, and if you spin that around, it actually spins the whole thing. Because if you look under here, you can see that it actually spins that small grey gear, which spins against that big black gear underneath, which spins the whole thing round. It's a nice feature, but really I've found it's just easier to spin it by hand, and that wasn't really necessary. But of course, because the other two vehicles had steering, I think they felt the need to give this one steering as well. And while we're talking about features, I'll come back to this piece down here. So if you look over here, you can actually see that there is a hydraulic press with some bevel gears down there as well. So if you turn this on the back, it actually lifts the arm up, which is a nice feature. And of course it's got the bucket on the end, so whatever you've put in the bucket is raised as well. But it has another feature as well. On the arm over on this side, there is this piece here, and as you can see it's not in the best position for digging, but if you pull this lever it actually opens the arm up, and that is a really nice fluid motion. I think that's a really nice feature of this vehicle in particular. And yeah, I think it adds for a lot of play value. You can lower the arm and scoop things up and then spin it round and drop it off. I just think it's a really nice build. The next vehicle you build is this truck, and as you can see it's got a very pleasing shape with the roll bars and the nice bed at the back. You can see it's a heavy loader truck as well, thanks to that big sticker. And it's also got 6 wheels, which I think is really nice as well. But anyway, if we start down at the front here, you can see there's this nice wheel arch around the wheel and a nice sticker with some patterns there, and you can see the cockpit as well and the shape of it thanks to these axles. You can also see there's this gear on top, which I will get back to shortly. If you turn it round to the front, you can see there's these headlights. There's orange and clear ones as well. And you can also see there's a nice shape with the raised middle. That's very pleasing to me, as well as the 2 lights up here as well. And of course, if you move around to this side, it's just identical to the other side. I said I'd get back to this gear on top, so I'll do that now. Of course, if you turn this gear, it turns the wheels on the front there. Because if you look down here, it turns the whole beams, which I think provides a very nice turning motion. I find that very pleasing, and it's fun to drive it around. And in this case, I think it was very necessary to have that steering mechanism on there, whereas of course it wasn't necessary for the excavator. If we move around to the back of the truck, you can see, of course, there's this nice sticker labelling it as a heavy loader, and you can also see the nice beams on there as well. That's all just one big panel there. And then if you move around to the back, you can see some more red and white warning stripes. And you can also see that this is actually a flap, so that anything you put in there can easily fall out. Of course, it's identical on this side. And when I said it can easily fall out, I wasn't meaning that if you drive it fast it can fall out. I was more meaning because of this feature, which is if you turn this here, it actually raises the whole bed. And as you can see, the flap on the back starts to open, so anything you would have put in would just fall out, and that's very nice. And of course that's done with, again, one of these hydraulic presses, and of course bevel gears as well, and that's a very pleasing look to me as well, with it, with the bed tipped up. The final vehicle is this digger, and I think this has a very nice look. It's definitely got the least decoration out of the 3, because as you can see, this one was almost completely covered around the top, and this one was completely covered around the front, and it had those big panels on the back. You can see that the digger is very open. In fact, you can see right through it there. And yeah, there's very little substance to this build, but it's a fun one to play around with. So as you can see down at the bottom, there are of course these big wheels, so it can drive over rough terrain. you can see you can quite easily do that. There's also this big wheel arch here which I like, and then you can see the cockpit up here as well. If you turn round to the back, you can see some more of these warning stripes, which is very nice. You can also see a couple of gears in there and a couple on top too. Again, it's identical on this side, and there's not really much from the front because of course there's a big bucket in the way. But yeah, I think it's a nice looking build. Of course, it does have some features as well. So first of all, just like the other two, this does have steering. If you turn this one on the top, it actually turns the whole digger, which is nice, and you can see there's a series of gears in there to make that happen. And I think that's a very pleasing motion. And you can see it gives it a nice small turning circle. So that's a nice thing. And then there's also this other gear down at the back, which of course raises the arm. And this doesn't actually use that same hydraulic piece. This actually uses a worm gear. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it. You can see there's a worm gear in there, and then this big gear here as well, to raise it up and down. And this actually requires a lot less turning than the other two, so that's nice. And there is one final feature. It's not as fun as the arm on the Excavator, but it's a similar thing. If you pull this here, it raises the bucket up, and if you push it forwards, it drops the contents out. But yeah, I think this is a nice vehicle. But as I said, the worst looking of the three for me. All in all, I think this is a great set. It's got three really nice, strong vehicles, and I think it has a lot of play value to it. Even though children isn't typically the target audience for Technic sets, I feel like there is a lot of play value here. You could really imagine a construction site, like digging up rubble and dropping it in here, and then tipping it out for the digger to collect. I think you could have a lot of fun playing around with this. And even if you're not going to play around with it, it does come with three very nice looking vehicles. Arguably two are much nicer looking than the other one, but they do all still look very nice. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.